So we're going to go ahead and get started on the album. So if you did the box first, you have this template left over, and this one here is the one that fits. I didn't glue my bottle on. It's the one that fits the full size that we made. And if you're not making the box and you're just going to make the album, you will have to go back and watch the start of the tutorial for the box so you can get the measurements for this. However, now we need to cut it down because we need to make our album, and we're going to make the album the same shape. So we are going to start off by bringing this down. Let's go 1/2 inch because I'm not really sure. So I'm going to take and draw 1/2 inch all the way around, and then we're going to cut it down. Make sure when you are cutting it down that you draw it with a pencil first, because if you were to go and cut up this way, you might end up changing the shape of it. So we want to go ahead and draw all of our lines first and then cut. So I think 1/2 inch will probably be pretty good, but what we're going to do is cut this first and then go ahead and test the cut piece to make sure it will fit in nice. So we have all of that right now, and we're going to cut it down. Yeah, let's see. So let me cut this down. All right, so I have all of that cut down. Let me get my box. And I think by looking at it like that, we're going to fit in just nicely. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get some chipboard and trace out this template, and we're going to cut it out of chipboard. We need 2 pieces cut out for front and back covers. So I'm using one 12 by 12 sheet of chipboard, and I am going to be able to get both front and back cut out. So what I did was, as you saw, I just traced that out. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cut these pieces out of here. So I have both of these cut out right now. So what you want to do is the same thing when we did like front and back of the box. If you didn't watch that part, we wanted to make sure that we were going to line up evenly. So as you can see, I am off a little bit, not really that much, but a little bit. And then kind of like that. So what you want to do is make sure that your book is going to line up perfect. So with that, I'm going to go ahead, open my book. So we're going to wrap these. Obviously, when you wrap, you're going to have the full sheet on the front and then kind of like the open bits in here. So I'm just going to go ahead and make an X on the insides. So when I wrap, I know that I will have it lined up right. All right, so let's get some cardstock and wrap them. Hi guys, it's Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and I'm here to share with you a design team project for Country Craft Creations. This is my Halloween project. In a previous video I showed you how I made the coffin box, and I'm going to give you a full walkthrough on the coffin box as well as the mini album that's coffin shaped inside. And real quick, let me just show you. I used Midnight Potions for the paper collection for this, as well as some Prima flowers, some gauze, different things. I will list all of the products that I used down below. Quite a bit of it though is from my stash because I had a lot of Halloween stuff, as I feel a good part of you do. If you've been making a lot of crafts and stuff over the years, you probably do have a collection of items that you can go ahead and use. So this works, it has 3 shelves to it. I'm laying it down so you can see it better, but let's flip it around a little bit. The back where the album is, and this is the back cover right here. I went ahead and used some of the silver stuff on it. I forget what it's called. Hold on one second. It's the metallic flakes from Flynn & Blair, and those are silver. I've used the silver and the gold ones before. These are a lot of fun to work with. So if you ever get a chance to play around with them, they are a lot of fun. So anyway, and again, like I said, the Prima flowers. So from Country Craft Creations was the flowers, obviously the paper, and the metallic flakes. And let's kind of give you a little walkthrough. So in the back, this is where my album is, and I'll go through that in a second. Just give you a little more details of everything. So my idea originally was I wanted to make it more like a medicine cabinet where you opened up, but then it just kind of worked into being more of a bookshelf. And I think it's cute because I can actually get a lot more three-dimensional stuff on it. You can see my little spiders. You can get a lot more three-dimensional stuff on it, leaving it open. So I kind of went with that, and I like that a little bit better than my original thought. And you can see down inside, and that's where the album goes in. So it does fit right inside, just like that. And it comes right out. Let's take a little walk through the album. So in the video, I give you all the measurements and stuff on how to go ahead and make this. I will post a comment in it when I get to the spine part. This part here probably should have been a little bit bigger because I did end up adding so much to this that you kind of have alligator mouth. As you can see, that's with it just kind of resting close. It wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't for these brads here. The way they line up, they're actually lining up on each other. So it's creating a little bit of bulk there. But I would make this about a quarter inch wider, not too much, only because there's not a whole lot of space behind here, even though it does look much wider. Right in here, it's not really that much wider once you put the book in it. So I would do this probably about a quarter inch thicker, but in the tutorial, I will insert a little video of that part when I get there. But that, or the other option would be is to not use the brads on these closures and maybe eliminate a couple pages from each side. All right, so let's go ahead and walk through this. So it opens up, it looks like a coffin, obviously going in the coffin box. And I thought "'twas only a dream" was the perfect saying for this. And you can see each side has its own, and they mirror image each other. So, and I like to do that a lot of times. So I do have a string closure. However, I didn't like, these weren't laying as flat, so I did go back in and add some magnets. I really didn't want to use any magnets on it, but these just were not laying flat enough for me, and I needed them much flatter just for the look of it. I didn't want them popping up. So I did go ahead and add some magnets to that part. So on the first side is a photo flap. And this is a very basic, simple construction. A lot of the work making this is literally hand cut in all the paper. It's not like you can just throw it into a paper cutter, make a nice square rectangle cut or whatever. You literally have to cut every single piece by hand. And in the tutorial, I walk you through making that. So in it, you start off with a piece a stencil that's the size of this. And then over time throughout making this, you start cutting that one down. So you keep the same shape, you just cut it down smaller and smaller, making the covers for the book, and then a little smaller for the base page, and again a little smaller for the pattern paper. So using all that same one. Sometimes along the way I did go ahead and make an extra template just because I wasn't quite sure how I was going to do it, and I didn't want to cut off something that I couldn't have. I'd have to reconfigure. So anyway, photo flap. Nice room for photos and stuff. Most of the pages are just like this, so you can just randomly add photos. Whoops, keep sticking to that. And then we go this way here. 2 photo flaps, and you can see Medicine Lady. I probably should have put this on a page without photo flaps. I didn't realize until after I did that it's kind of like, oops. Just like this one here, now I cut it, and it's both pieces. And then over here, and then I have 2 photo flaps. And then that's it for that one. And then you flip it all back, and then you go the opposite way. I love the picture of the house. That's so pretty. And I wish I had a porch like that. Photo flap. And then again right here, I did add a pocket to this photo flap just because I wanted a little something extra in it. And just like that. And it is all accordion style, so get that guy out of the way. So it just would open all the way up. And then you have this stuff on the other side. So doing the accordion style was the best way that I could go about in creating the pages for this, because it's not like a typical spine, especially because of the shape of the pages. So I went ahead and did it that way. Let me show you the other side. The string really now is just for looks, but I like the idea of the string on it. And then again, this side just mirrors the other pages. Photo flap. And again. Now these photo flaps are 4x6, but you can definitely do 3x5 if you wanted to. And a pocket. The little heart sticking out there. And just like that. It does kind of, the way the pages fold, this piece here is kind of getting a little caught on that, so it's not going to lay as flat as I would like it to. But it still works just as well. That's neat. I like the picture of the skulls facing each other. And that was that. Anyway, kind of a fun little project. I know it's a little past Halloween by 21 days. But work, as always, is busy, and it's my super busy time of year now. So, but I am glad that I finally got this done, because I really wanted you guys to see this and get to enjoy it. But anyway, that is my little walkthrough on that. So I went ahead and I added full tape coverage to the back, and I'm going to go ahead and set this on here. Now I do want to wrap it, so just seeing, I think I'm going to do it this way because I get a little bit more space in here than if I tried to center it right here. So I'm going to kind of angle this and I'll set it on. Actually, let's figure out where we want it. And then very lightly, I know I need to stick it in that area. Haven't quite figured out how I'm going to do a hinge on it yet. So again, remember that X is where we took and Made our mark so we know that was the inside. Just like that. Make sure we're creased. Okay. And now we got to do some trimming. So let's go ahead and trim. Let's go with 3/4 of an inch. I think that will give us plenty to wrap. I usually go ahead and wrap one and then I know, but we're just gonna wing it. Okay, looks good. Now we're going to put tape all around. So I have tape all the way around, and what I think I want to do is, let's try this. So I'm going to put this on, and I want to keep the paper cut straight, I think, with that angle, and then straight. Do I want to go straight across? Let's try it and see. So if I fold it, it will overlap like that. So let's try the bottom. That way. All right, so I didn't hit the button. I thought I hit the button to record, so I cut these out. So let me just explain to you what I did real quick. So I took my ruler, I put it on top like this, and then I cut straight across here and straight up that way. And then I took this, lined it up there, and cut down here, and then did the same thing on this side and cut right there. And this is what I have at the moment. So then what I want to do is take a Sharpie, just because I don't know what's going to cover and what's not. So we're just going to get those edges a little bit. Just like that. And all right, so we're going to go ahead and get this one down. Okay. And I think that will wrap nice. So let's go ahead and do the same thing that I just did. So do I want to go? I feel like if I do the same thing I did on the bottom, on the sides, it's not going to go even. So let's cut. So I'm going to start with a slight angle right up to the point right here. And right here. And again, I'm going to add some black in there. And I feel like there's going to be too much overlap here, so I'm going to cut at a little angle right here. That's a little better. I just don't want too much overlapping of it. Not too bad. And you don't see any of the chipboard on that one. So let's go ahead and do the same thing on this side. Again, just a little angle. And a little Sharpie. And then that looks good. There we go. And that one was good that we did it, because actually you can't even see it, but I do have a little bit of the chipboard showing, and it's because of that Sharpie. You don't even see it. Clean up this mess. All right, so the top part. I think we're going to do the same thing we just did. Actually, I'm going to do the same thing I did on the bottom. So I'm lining my scissors up straight across the top, straight that way, and then turning it, going straight with this. And then same thing over here. And then let's get our Sharpie. And let's get the tape off. There's that one, and let's get this side first because we know we're going to need it. There we go. And then the top, let's see, do we need to, we'll just do a slight angle cut on those. Looks good. Okay. And there's the wrap on that. So now we're going to go ahead and do the same thing to the second one. So the part that you're about to see, I gave you a measurement of 1 inch on the spine. However, when it was all completely created, it probably could go a little bit more. So I would go ahead and make this 1 1/4 inches. There's not a whole lot of room to go much bigger, but if you go 1 1/4, you may not get so much of the alligator mouth. And I did get the alligator mouth more so because these two brads here, they line up, so you can see it kind of keeps it from closing. Another option would be is not to add so many pages to it, which I'm not sure. I may not go ahead and remove some because I really can't go ahead and fix this spine just because of the paper and everything, how it all matches up without having to get more paper. So I might maybe eliminate some pages. But anyway, when you go ahead and make this and you follow this part of the tutorial, make this piece at 1 1/4 inches wide. Alrighty. Let's see, where's my tools? So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to score 1/2 inch this way, 1/2 inch this way. So kind of made a little shape like that. And I went ahead and added some score tape to the back. Take this off. And now I'm going to set it right into place, just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and add score tape all the way around. I have that all around, so real quick, just in case anything does show, just going to go ahead and add a little Sharpie to my corners. And now I am going to trim them. And then we're just gonna kind of give a little fold all the way around so we can get a nice crease. Just like that. And let's go ahead, I'm going to put the ends down first. And the other side. And just tuck in the corners a little bit. Make sure that you don't have any buildup of where your paper overlaps. Okay, and then we have our little spine piece. Make sure everything is flat. Okay, and now we're going to cut another piece of cardstock. We will make this one just under 7 inches, and then let's make this one let's see, so let's cut this piece and let's go 4 and then just 4 inches across and then just under the 7 inches. All right, so I cut it 4 and kind of like 6 15/16, and I'm going to score at 1.5 inches. And then it's only 1 inch, so we'll score at 2.5, so that we'll just make nice creased folds. And I'm going to go ahead and add score tape to the whole back of the spine. All right, so I have my score tape. I'm going to go ahead and set this on there just so I can see. So it is just under Oops, why is my autofocus off? Okay. So when I put it on, it's only going to be just a smidge. That's weird. I don't know why it's doing that. So let's take the tape off. And make sure there's no tape hanging. Okay, you can see that right there. And then give it a good burnish down. And then I have some tape showing, so we're going to trim it right off. All cleaned up. And we're just going to go ahead and put a nice crease in there. Looks good. I want to just give this another burnish down. So now we're going to add tape. Alright, so I went ahead and added score tape to both sides of my spine, leaving about a 1/4 inch here because I don't want, when the book cover goes on, I don't want any tape to show in just in case it folds. So what I did in turn to cover that up was I went ahead and added some score tape to the edges of these here. However, they do not go all the way to the edges because I don't want them showing when I put that on. So it would be just like that. So let's go ahead and add these. Now the spine is cut just a tad shorter than the edges of the coffin book, so whatever height distance you put on one side, you want to match it. So you can see there is a little gap down here, so we want to make sure when we put this side on that we have that same amount of gap. So I'll take this one off. And set this on. Oops. Paying attention to how much spacing that we're doing at the bottom. That looks good to me. Give it a good burnish down so nothing is going to lift. And there we go. Isn't that cute? And then if we take our box and we set our book in it, there we go. Sticks up just a little bit, that way we know that there is something in there. All right, so let's go ahead now and do some more decorating, and we'll add page in here. And I think I'll have to figure it out. I'm not so much sure I want to do anything with hinges on it rather than have some couple of side flaps with some pockets and stuff come out, but I will figure that out. All right, so before we move on to the next step, I need to trim this one a little. I need to trim it more for my pages, but I need to trim it just a little bit first so I can have it fit right over this area, because I want to clean up all these little spots in here where it's kind of not covered over. So what I'm going to do is, on my ruler, I'm going to go in probably, see, like that first little line, this little line right there, that one, I'm probably going to go in just a little bit and draw and trim all that so I can cut it down. So let's do that real quick. All right, so let's trim that one out. I just sharpened my pencil. So I think that is probably 1/8 of an inch. And then just the bottom, and then I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. Oops. Remove, so I got to do it this way. At least when it moved to the part I'm cutting off. It's easier to trim something when you're holding down like the bigger area versus trying to cut a sliver off. All right, so that is all trimmed out, as you can see, and now this will work for our pattern paper to go on the front and the back. Looks good. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and choose what I want to use for those areas and cut them out, because I'm going to have to trim this one down. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll leave it this size for the pages as well, so we'll see how that works. But first I'm going to cut out my pattern paper so I have that ready to go. All right, so here is a little trick. What I did was I took my piece that I already want, I put it on some paper, trimmed it out, and I just went ahead and cut it. And what I want to work with is this part here, because if you were to go ahead and use a piece and you put it on, it's hard to tell if you're going to be centered or not. So I'm kind of using a reverse type pattern. So this way I can go ahead, line this up exactly where I want it to make sure it's going to look good, and voila. So I have that one. I like this. So this is what I'm trying to figure out for my covers. I like this too, but I don't like how it cuts the words off. So that one I don't think I'm using. And I really like this one, but I don't know. Oh, I guess I could get it, because this is the one I really liked. And till I cut this out, I didn't think it was going to work, but I actually can get it to fit perfect. So I love that part for my cover. So that's what I'm going to use for my cover. So what I'm going to do is just trace around on the inside now and then cut that one out. So that one is perfect for what I want to use. And look at that. That looks perfect for my album cover. So what I think is, see how I have this right here? We're going to cut out that strip so that's 1 inch. And let's see, I want it to line up, so if I go 1 inch over, I can trim it after. Now let's take this again. It's going to go like that. There's the edge of my house. So I need to trim it right there. And there. But don't forget it's at an angle, so okay. And I just need to trim it a little thinner. Alright, so this is what I have. So I didn't like how short this piece here was. It was kind of a little too short, probably at least 1/8 of an inch, maybe almost 1/4. So I ended up using the piece from this side. So I cut this piece out from another piece of paper so I can kind of get almost the whole house in there. So when it closes up, it just kind of wraps like that. So but anyway, that's what I did to the front cover. I think it looks super cute. I love how that looks. All right, so now we're going to go and work on the inside. We're going to go ahead and get started on building the pages for this side. So let me just walk you through real quick what I did on this side, and we're just going to duplicate it on the other side. So I thought with these little pieces here, it would look cute for like how the coffins usually look with the boards across them. And then that works as your closure. And pretty simple construction. There's not a whole lot to it because you figure for the most part, you're not going to have a ton of photos for Halloween. So photo mat like this. And this is all going to work accordion style, just like that. So flips over and then we go this way, a couple photo mats. I'm probably going to add some photo mats here, and then these two here, they would open up like this. And then if you go the other direction, same thing. And then on the back photo mat, I decided to add a cute little pocket to it, just like that. But anyway, so what you're going to do to start with is you're going to take your piece that you made already. So this is the piece that you use to go ahead and cut your pattern paper on the top. Oops. So it's like this, pretty much. So you're going to go ahead and use the piece that you use for your pattern paper, and you're going to cut 6. So we need to cut 6 of these out. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the 6. So I went ahead and cut out my 6 pieces. Oh, I see a pencil mark right there. Get rid of that. So the one thing you want to do is make sure that they all fit nice and even. So as you know, your pattern might be a little off. So if you don't have them even, things are not going to line up. So what you want to do is make sure, first of all, you know which direction they all need to go in. That way they'll sit nice and even in your book. And you need to make 6 hinges. And I cut these at 7.5 and by 1.5 and scored at 3/4 of an inch. And then I put tape on all of them. They're a little bit longer because we're going to trim them, but they are a little bit longer than what you're going to need here, but we will trim them as we go. So let's get started. So the first one, actually looking at it, I need to make these little guys first. Hold on, let me get you measurements and cut those. Okay, so I got these cut. So you need to cut 2 of them at 1.5 inches wide and one at 5 inches, one at 6 inches, and then you're going to score at a 1/2 inch and 1 inch on both of those. You can go ahead and fold those. Yeah, so the first one, the shorter one, we are going to go ahead, and you have the piece of the tape. So this is what's going to wrap around the book part. As you can see, kind of like that part of it there. So we're going to start off with one, and you're going to go ahead and put it to the back cover. So the part that flips up, you're going to want to go ahead and put it on where it's not going to catch into that area. So, and stick it in. Oops. And then just make sure you're not catching, and that will go that way. And then the next one, we're going to go ahead and put up probably in about this area. That way you have, they kind of go like that direction. So I'm going to go ahead and put this one on. And this one's going to go right to the edge. And then when your stuff's in, it's going to look like that. All right, so now we can go ahead with our first page. And let's open this up. So for this one here, I went to the outer edge. So we're going to go ahead and do the outer edge on this side. So we're just mirror imaging it. So take the first one. So you're going to want to go ahead and create some hinges. These are 1.5 by 7.5, and they are scored at 3/4 of an inch. And you're going to apply tape to one side and then on the other one to the opposite side, so you can see how it goes. So this way, when they fold, you'll have like tape to tape just like that, and then no tape. Okay, so let's go ahead and start adding our pages in. So we're going to go ahead and attach the first one. We're going to make sure we're all kind of lined up right here. So we're going to go like that. Let's get some more room. So the way to put these hinges on, you have to put them on a certain way. Otherwise, they don't fold nicely because it's not like a typical album where you can just put the hinges on. So what you're going to do is for the first one, you're going to go ahead and place this on. So this is going to end up being on the top. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to flip it over so I can line up properly. Let's get the keyboard out of the way. And whatever direction you do start doing them in, you need to make sure these pieces are all the same way. So for the first one, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to line it right up on top here. And I'm going to cut at the bottom because it's going to be easier to go ahead and cut at the bottom on these. So first one, and I'm going to put this right up to the score line. And then we're still able to move. So if you want, you can go ahead and give it a good burnish. You want to make sure that there's nothing overhanging up here, because if it is, sometimes it sticks up a little bit and you might want to trim it. And for right now, I'm just going to go ahead, putting my scissors right up against my page, and I'm just going to cut straight across. And then if you fold it over, you can see just like that, so you have some room. And then this one now, I'm going to go ahead, line it up, get it right where I need it. So I want to make sure that this piece here is centered all the way around, just as if I was matting it with some paper. And if I have it good, I'm just going to hold it down, lift this up, remove my tape, and stick it down. And this is what we have. All right, so now we're going to apply the one to the next side. So let's get our next piece. making sure what direction that lines up. So again, same thing. I'm going to go ahead and put this on right here. So I'm just going to flip it because it makes it easier for me to put it on. And I'm going to set it on right up to the score line. And again, trim. Put in my scissors right up to the edge of that page. Oops. Looks like I can trim it a tad more. That looks good right there. Give it a good burnish. I can feel the resistance. Lining this piece up right with the other one. There we go. And then the next piece. Looks good. So this one here is going to go on the top on this side. So again, flipping it over. Okay, trim. Line up. I can see I didn't quite. That's good. Good burnish. So right here you can see it's a little bit right there. So that's what I was talking about. So what I'm going to do is take it and I am just going to snip off that little corner. And you can see how I snipped it because now it's not even. It's got a little divot right there. But it lines up perfect with that. And oops, I don't want that to stick to anything. Again, lining it right up on top. Hold it down. There we go. All right, and then the next one, we're going to line up, and that's the top. This has got to go here, so flip it. And then trim. Piece right there I got to get off. And line it up. And I think I got 2 more to go. So real quick, this guy. And this is on the top. reach down, trim that a little bit. Right on top. And now the last one. Okay, and this hinge has got to go right there. Okay, and put this right on top. And then what we have is our little accordion. Little pieces here that close it all together. And we will fold up just like that. Actually, those lined up pretty good. A little off, but not bad. All right, and now, so we're gonna have to go ahead and cut some photo mats. So these are 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. And I need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'm going to cut 8 photo mats. You can always add more, but I figured you have all this space too to add photos. So if you have 8 photo mats, that's 16 photos on this side, 16 photos on this side, that's 32, plus the pages too. So you have a lot of space for photos. So I don't feel, unless you're having a really big Halloween event, you're not going to really need a lot of space, because it's not like it's a super big holiday, but it is a fun holiday. So go ahead and cut 8 photo mats, 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. All right, so I cut out my photo mats, and they are scored at 1/2 inch, and I put tape on it. So they are, again, they're 4 3/4 by 6 1/4. We're going to go ahead and set these on. So what I'm going to do is mirror what I have on this side. So I have 1 photo mat here. So we're going to put it on this side, going right up to the edge. Now when you put these on, just be careful that you are not too low, because if you're too low, you're going to come over, and then you're also going to damage that, because it's not going to close properly. So that's the first one. Okay, and then if I flip this up, I have 2 going this direction. So if I flip it this way, to the outside, yep. So I'm going to put one again right here. And you can put these anywhere you want. Just make sure you're careful. And if you don't need one on every page, I wouldn't do one on every page, because you will add a lot of thickness to your book. And let's see, so that one, nothing there, and then opposites. So this one, nothing there, and then one going in on each. So this guy. And over on this side. See, if you were to go too low here, you're going to run into that. You could always make them 3 by 5 instead of 4 by 6 photo mats if you wanted something a little shorter on there. if you want, you can also create smaller ones to flip up this way so those can flip. But if you're going to start adding a whole lot to it, I would increase the spine, but be careful because if you are putting it in the coffin box, you could run out of space to put that in there. All right, and then the last three, so let's see. I have one here. This side's easier to do the way it all flips. So this guy. And let's go one more. Whoops, this way. So we'll put this one over here. And flip it, and then I have the one left, so that's going to go on the back page. Oops. And that one is going to go right here, and then we're going to go ahead and make a pocket for it. And make a little pocket, so I'm going to get you measurements for that. So the final part is the pocket. This is 5 1/4 by 3 1/2. So you're going to score at a 1/2 inch on the 3 1/2, and then a 1/2 inch on each side on the 5 1/4. You can go ahead and trim this back. And then burnish it all down. And I'm going to set this right on the top of this photo flap, making sure we're lined up all even. And then that's it basically for the layout, other than decorating. And I'll show you what to do for the decorating part. So let's move on to that one. So this all folds down. Oops. Just like that, looks so cute. So for the decorating part, so now you're going to go ahead and take your template that you had. What you're going to do with this is you need to be able to make a piece to go ahead and cut for your pattern paper. So very simple. What you're going to do is I am going 1/8 on my ruler, and I'm lining it up right here. And I'm going to go all the way around. And if you're not sure on some of the things, if you should go ahead and trim it, I would just go ahead and cut a template from your template, so you have one that's the correct size, just in case you mess up or anything. And now what you're going to do is go ahead and cut all that off around the edge. So you're just cutting those little slivers off. And that is it for all the major stuff on here. The rest is just decorating it. And for the most part, you will have this piece now. And that is going to be the spot that you're going to go ahead and trim out and put on. Again, when you do trim it, make sure you line up first because of the direction of this template should be just a little smaller than this piece. So again, just make sure you're putting your pattern paper now on the correct way so everything lines up, so you can pretty much see how even that is all around. If you were to turn it upside down, it may not line up perfectly. This one actually isn't too bad, but just go ahead and test which way your template would line up best over top. And then when you do cut your paper, you're going to go ahead and cut it like this, you know, not like this, but if you want this piece and this side lines up, you're just going to go ahead and set it on top and trim. All right, so that's about it. All I'm going to do now is just go ahead and decorate it, add some photo mats, and we will be pretty much good to go. So the next time you see this, it will be all decorated. Alrighty, so I am all done adding all the pattern paper and all the fun stuff to it, as you saw in the beginning of the walkthrough for this. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you make it, please go ahead and tag me in it. I would love to see your version of this. And if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button, give it a thumbs up, and until next time, guys, happy crafting. Bye.